If you are sick of getting your cheeks clapped by Mewtwo and Pikachu EX on Pokemon Pocket, I'm going to teach you how to build the best decks to absolutely destroy everyone. So here's the thing in this game. This game is so fun, it is so good that you can make any deck work. It's very balanced. People say that Pikachu and Mewtwo EX is broken. They're not. In my opinion, Pikachu kind of sucks. I'm going to be real, I think Pikachu sucks. I think Mewtwo's good, but it's not the best card. It's just very strong and just everyone's playing it. So here are the things I want to go over. First, let's go over the staple cards. The cards that you pretty much need in every single deck. And that is Sabrina, Giovanni, Professor's Research, Pokeballs, and X-Speed. Now, how many you have of each depends on your deck, really. You pretty much always need 2 Professor X's and you pretty much always need 2 Pokeballs. And I'm starting to feel like 2 X-Speeds is very strong in most decks as well. I have 2 potions instead because keeping Venusaur alive is kind of like the point of the deck. And at the time when I built this, I only had 1 Erica, but I can swap another Erica in there. And then 1 or 2 Sabrina, depending on like your matchup and your game plan, and like the whole vibe of the deck that you want to build. And that will bring me to my next point, the key damage numbers. Okay, so 150 is the HP of Mew and 120 is the HP of Pikachu. So these are very important numbers because they're the cards that you're going to see a lot, because people are sheep and they just kind of copy other people and just play the same decks when they have like no creativity. And that's why it's so easy to beat Pikachu and Mewtwo, because most players who play those cards kind of suck. Let's just be real, they kind of suck. So why is Giovanni important? So if you have a card that is hitting for 140 damage, okay, with the Giovanni, it now one-shots Mewtwo. If you have a card that's hitting for 110 with 120 with Giovanni, it now one-shots Pikachu. So that's why these cards are so important, okay? Now, so they're the 2 like most main key damage numbers. So the perfect example I'm going to use to talk about damage numbers is this one right here. This Machamp EX deck. I'm still waiting for a Marek. I can't believe I've been playing this game for like almost 2 months and I don't have a second Marek. It's insane. But this card is the perfect example. So Machamp EX one-shots Pikachu. Okay, but it falls short of Machamp EX. So how could you make Machamp have a good matchup into Pikachu and Mewtwo? Because it doesn't get one-shot by Mewtwo, because it has 180 HP, so even with the weakness, it's going to live a hit from Mewtwo. But how can you get Machamp to destroy Mewtwo? Well, if you run Hitmonlee, it does 30 damage to a bench Pokemon, you hit Mewtwo once with that in the back, it is now in range to die from Machamp. It has 120 HP left after you hit it with Hitmonlee, Machamp will one-shot it. So just thinking of like little things like that will make your deck so much better. Okay, so if Mewtwo was like 180 HP, then this Hitmonlee would not be good and this deck would probably be really bad. So you got to think of like the key numbers that make cards like really good. So I think Machamp is kind of slept on. Even though it's weak to Psychic, I think it's very good into Mewtwo, and I think it's insane into Pikachu. So this is really, really good. So another thing, X-Speed. Now the deck that I want to talk about, X-Speed, is probably my Mewtwo deck. So a lot of people, they run Mewtwo, they go with 2 Mewtwo's, Gardevoirs, and then they just kind of slap you with that. I think that's kind of like not the best way to play Mewtwo. So the way my idea for Mewtwo was like, okay, Mewtwo's so good, but I don't want to have it vulnerable to like dying early, and then once I'm down 2 points, I'm just open to a Sabrina where I can just die. So what I wanted to do was like, okay, I'm going to use a bunch of basic Psychic Pokemon that only give up 1 prize card, and I'm going to just continuously swap between them, have them so hard to just work for those 2 points, and then when they finally get them, I'm either like in a spot where I can already win and just bring in Mewtwo, or I've just already won the game, like they can't even kill me. So when I want to cycle between all my Pokemon like that, the best thing to do, X-Speeds. Now this card I think is like one of the most slept on cards in the entire game. This card's insane. I'm really thinking you should have like almost 2 in every single deck. So this is like the best one to showcase when you would just want to cycle through your Pokemon. You just want to keep things alive by like just making your opponent really work for getting like points. And this is like the best example for X-Speeds. The next thing we can talk about is the actual structure of your deck, when you have a plan for your deck. So what you want to do, this is probably the best one to talk about, my Venusaur deck right here. So Venusaur You have to evolve it twice. It has full energy. It's very slow. You might think, okay, how the hell do you make a Venusaur deck? Because it's just going to die, right? Well, what you want to do is you want to put something in there early. Pair it with a card that you can throw out early that just dominates early. Now, the best way to do that, and what you want to look for, is cards with good HP, but mainly low attack cost, right? Because when you just slap that one energy on there and you can start doing damage early, you can spend all the rest of your turns just loading up your Venusaur. So what makes Exeggutor so good with Venusaur is the high HP. So the high HP, it can just sit there and it can soak up hits and really buy like a lot of turns. So if you had something like Farfetch'd is like really good because it's aggressive, right? But it wouldn't stay alive long enough to build up Venusaur. But if you don't have Exeggutor EX, you can use stuff like Wheezing, and you can use stuff like Kangaskhan. Kangaskhan I think is better than Wheezing here, but it's just an example, right? So you can use stuff like that, just to buy yourself time so you can build up something in the back and then you can go. Okay, and then another example of like a really aggressive deck. Now, this is a deck that I built around Gyarados, right? So my plan was for Gyarados, it's pretty much the same as Venusaur, right? Let's just bring in stuff early that are like really strong, that can just do some work while I build up Gyarados. The problem with this deck was, it was a little bit too good. And like, if you want to build a strong deck, I think this is like solid. But for me, I just wanted to play Gyarados, right? Because Gyarados is my favorite card. I didn't really care if it was good or not. So with this deck, I was winning games before I even got the Gyarados built up with Starmie and Golduck. Like, they were just popping off. So I was like, okay, how do I make Gyarados work? Okay, so I was like, I need more time. So I went to Frostmoth and Kangaskhan. So Frostmoth, you can buy turns by putting him to sleep, and then Kangaskhan is just more HP. It can just sit in there as a basic card. It's more consistent than Starmie when it comes to like sitting there and just taking hits, because it's a basic card. You don't need to evolve it. You can get out there turn 1, it can just start soaking up stuff and only needs 1 energy. So when Starmie needs 2 energy, that's 1 energy that's not going on Gyarados, right? So this had more success in bringing Gyarados out, but I don't know if it's overall better. So another aggressive deck is this Ninetales one. So this deck, you don't build up anything in the back, you're just going straight out aggressive. Everything's low energy cost and you're just like firing. So that's pretty much what you want to do. You want to have a big card in the back and you want to have something early, or you just go early all the way and just be like super aggressive. When you have a deck full of like big cards that you need a lot of energy to build up and nothing like good in the early game, you're just going to get stomped. You're going to get absolutely stomped. You're going to have no momentum and you're just going to be down price cards. Another thing to know, you don't need EX cards. They're obviously very good, but you don't need them. Okay, every card is pretty much good. Like, there are some ones that kind of suck, but for the most part there are a lot of good decks. Like this one here, I decided to go with the regular Exeggutor because my hope is I get to use 2 Exeggutors or 2 Vileplumes and just really just put in work, and just if I get 2 Vileplumes out, then I'm going to be like solid, I'm going to be set. Whereas if I had an Exeggutor EX, if it dies, then I can only use 1 Vileplume, right? Because if it dies, then I lose the game. Where I can have an Exeggutor die, a Vileplume die, and I can still use another Vileplume or another Exeggutor. So that was the plan for this deck. I'm going to try it with the EX as well and just see which one's better. But that's the thing, you can experiment with a bunch of other decks. You can do like so many other different things, and yeah, there are like endless options in this game. You don't have to follow what everyone else is doing. You can make your own decks. That's what I do. I make it like a new deck almost every day. So I just try them out and see if they're good. So that's it. That's your guide to building decks in Pokemon Pocket. It's pretty easy. It's pretty easy. You just need the staple cards, you need to remember your damage numbers, and you need to have a plan with your deck. Like something that's good early and then something that's good late, okay? So I hope you enjoyed the video. Go watch my pack points guide if you want to learn how to get some of these like staple cards early, and yeah, I'll see you in the next video.